ಅವರು ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯನ ವಾಸುಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಹಳೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನೋಡ್ಬಹುದು. ವಾಸುಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, ಉಮಾ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. Today we are really privileged to have someone who has deep knowledge about the spiritual anatomy and gives in-depth lectures and meditations on this subject. So just to give an idea, so she talks about this topic for more than 20 lectures and then more than 40 hours of expositions on this topic. So today there will be a very short summarized introduction. So Uma Mullapudi started the Heartfulness practice in 1977 and has been practicing the meditation for over 45 years. She is a trainer since 1986, has been serving the Heartfulness community and mission for over 35 years. So with her deep knowledge of the spiritual path, she offers sessions and classes to many in the local community as well as the global Heartfulness community. She is a very popular lecturer in the Heartfulness topics. We are very privileged to have her. Let's all welcome her, and I will hand it over to Srimati Uma Mullapudi. Namaste.
My humble pranams to our members of AKKA and also especially the board members of AKKA. I'm very humbled to be here. Brother Vasumurthi's introduction was a little exaggerated. I am just an ordinary housewife that has been practicing the heartfulness method for the past 45 years. And by the grace of my Guru, because of the progress that he has given with the transmission that is emanating from the consciousness of the Guru, an understanding dawned in me. So I am able to share it with my brothers and sisters. And my call to all of us is, if I'm able to grasp this truths of this Brahma Vidya, the spiritual truths, an ordinary person like me, everybody can do it. It is possible to do it. And that is my call to my brothers and sisters. Before we proceed with the presentation, it is a long presentation. I will try to cover as much as possible because the subject is very deep. So let me share the screen. Before we begin, I would play a video about the Nasadiya Sutta from the Rigveda. And that is my favorite part of this entire presentation, where the truth is given in 2 seconds, 2 sutras. And that, if we can understand those truths, the journey of this internal yatra, inner journey towards human perfection, becomes a clear and joyful journey. So with that, let us now share the screen. So here we are going to talk about the topic of the spiritual journey.
Asadasidno sadasidatanim nasidra jono vyoma paroyate Kimavariva kuhakasya sharmannam bhakkimasid gahanam gaviram Na mrityurasidamrutam natarinaratrya anha asid praketaha Anīdapatam sadhaya tadekam tasmāt dhānyanna parah kinchanasa Tama asid tamasa gudhamagre praketam salilam sarvamahidam Tuchidnāvapihitayyadāsi tapasastan mahina jāyataikam Kāmasthatagre samavartata dhimanaso retah prathamam yadāsīt Sato bandhumasati niravindan hridi pratishya kavayo manisha Tiraschino vitato rashviresha madhasvidasi duparisvidasita Retudha sanmahimana asatsvadha avastat prayatih parastat Ko atthaved kahya prabhu Chakkuta ajata kutayam visrushtihi Arva deva asya visarjanenatha ko vedayata ababhuva Iyam visrushtiryata ababhuva yadiva dadhe yadivana Yo asyadhyakshah paramevyo manso angaveda yadivana veda Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om
So before we start our topic, the two fundamental truths from this Nasadiya Sukta is about God did not know when the beginning was, for he was not there when the beginning was. That is what the sutra says. Because the creation began with Bhuma, the Shakti, Adi Shakti, the female principle. And the second part of the interesting thing was the wise who searched in their heart. So where do you need to search for this presence? In the heart. And the next statement is the wise who searched in their heart could discern. What is the discernment? Viveka, clarity of the mind. And what could they discern? Between that which is and which is not. So the wise who searched in their heart came to this state of discrimination ability. They came to that state of being where they could clearly see what is and what is not. So the sub-objective world, that is the material world, is not, but the true world is inside. And the same thing, Sage Patanjali, to arrive at this state of being of this nothingness, he called it a state of absolute balance. Because from that original state, we came a long way to a state of imbalance, where we don't even know how to be peaceful. So the journey is to go back There was a stir in the center and the creation came, the pralaya happened, the particles came from the center, and the particles that fell close to this center is the human kingdom. And from that human level, our state of being degraded as we utilize the power of the mind that came with us. And we started to form impressions, thoughts leading to actions, repeated actions, creating a character, and our character designing our destiny. We formed so many impressions. And Hinduism, they called it karma. What does karma means? It's a result of your thoughts and actions that you have collected. And the soul's nature being pure, it keeps shedding that impurities because it doesn't want to remain impure. And the soul cannot really absorb these impurities. And so these impurities that we collected were collected in our program, computer program field, which is known as the Sukshma Sarir or subtle body. So in that sense, when they talked about karma, Sanchita karma is like the impressions that we have collected over several lifetimes. And when we come into this life, we come with a particular bank account because we have collected so much that we cannot possibly finish it off in one lifetime. So the amount of bank account that we bring is known as prarabdha karma. And that we try to get rid of as much as possible and try to go back lighter towards the higher journeys. But we get caught up in this illusory world, get involved in thoughts and actions so much that we end up collecting some more than what we came to get rid of. And that is the Kriyamana karma that we collect in this lifetime. And that impressions that we collect in the lifetime has a possibility of going back to our bank account, or some of it can be gone through in this lifetime. And in this, nature gives a little break to us, which is known as agami karma, where by right action and right thoughts and right living, we can get rid of some of it, most of it. And that is known as agami karma. So this is where the human being can make a difference. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm bound my karma, this is my fate, nothing can be changed. No, great sages like Daji would say, you can design your own destiny. And that statement comes from this part of the agami karma, where a human being can change the direction of his thought, change the direction of his action, and reduce these impressions that are making him suffer and go back lighter into experiencing these higher sacred dimensions that exist in nature. So here we are trying to understand how heartfulness method will help in this process. What does the Guru do for us? And also another concept, if you look at Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the Yoga Sutras were designed to bring human being into a state of balance. There was no God realization there. In those days, the word that was used was pure consciousness. Human beings need to experience the pure consciousness. To experience the pure consciousness, human beings need to come to the state of absolute balance. So even if you look at Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna on the battlefield because he lost his balance. So what Lord Krishna did was, he adjusted the energy fields, his chakras, to such a state of being that Arjuna was brought to a state of witnesshood. When he became involved with the activity of this external world, of witness, seeing the war, seeing his family, everybody on the war front, that impression made him lose his balance, and that made him lose his peace, and that brought emotional disturbance in him, and that made him scared, and his vision became disillusioned. He wasn't clear, and so he fell apart as a human being and put his bow and arrow down and said, Lord, I cannot fight this war. So what the Lord did was bring him to a state of balance, gave him peace, brought him to emotional stability, make him fearless, and brought him to that state of discernment, which the Nasadaya Sukta is talking about. When you come to that state of being of discernment, known as Viveka, you realize what is and what is not. And this, the sage Patanjali describes it as the seer, we are the seer, and the seen is everything else. Arjuna was the seer and everything else was the seen. And his eyes were the seer. And something was affecting that vision. And what was that affecting the vision? The mind that got disturbed. So now the mind became the seer. Everything else became the seen. And that mind was what Lord Krishna worked upon. And that what mind came to that stillness, Arjuna could see, this is not me. This has already happened. It is happening according to the divine will. And from that state of clarity, he was able to perceive the objective world as well as the divine state of Lord Krishna. In the beginning, he said, I can't see you. Please, you come back to your normal form. So this is the state of being that we need to arrive at. And that is what meditation helps. Because meditation is the alphabet. If you don't know your alphabets, you can start writing poetry. So if we cannot adopt meditation into our lives, we cannot arrive at these states of being and bring the transformation into ourselves. So where does heartfulness help you with this? So there is a field known as Chit Lake. And this Chit Lake, before I go to this point, I will want to show this. This Chit Lake point exists behind the 7th point. The 6th point is the Ajna Chakra between the eyebrows, and the 7th point is just intertwined. And between this 7 and 8th point, between 7 and 8, there is a difference of a couple of fingers width. There is an area known as Chit Lake. And in this Chit Lake is where the passion point, the Saraswati, knowledge point, and the passion point exist. And these are given by God. That's why if you eradicate passion completely in a person, he'll become useless. So everything has to be moderated. Passion has to be moderated. Anger has to be moderated. Life has to be moderated. All the energies have to be in moderation for a human being to perform at his highest potential. So this Chit Lake is where our karma is floating as thoughts when we come into the earth plane. And from here, the thoughts are flowing and their tendencies to come towards fruition as suffering or joys, which is known as the word bhoga. So the current is flowing and there are 5 energy chakras in the heart region. 3.5 fingers from the left lower nipple is the earth point, which signifies the balance. And 3.5 fingers down from the right nipple is the ether point, which signifies peace. 3.5 fingers above the left nipple is the fire point, anger and emotion. 3.5 fingers from the right nipple is the water point, which is about fear and courage. And in between these 2 points is the air point. Our human body is made up of these Panchabhutas or 5 elements. And we have the subtle body, and that is also made up of these 5 elements. And in these chakras, when we say the first point is the earth point, it has all the 5 elements, but it is dominated by the earth. And in the second point, it has all the 5 elements, but it is dominated by ether. Third point has all the 5 elements, but dominated by fire. Same thing with the 4th point, dominated by water. 5th point, dominated by air. So when Arjuna received the vibrations from the earth plane, they entered into his consciousness through an energy field called C, and it disturbed his first point. His balance was disturbed, and that vibration, as it moved into the second state of being of ether, it disturbed the peace. When it moved into the 3rd chakra, which is emotional stability and anger, and it disturbed his emotion, and that disturbed his courage. He became scared, and that disturbed his clarity of the vision. And so he fell apart as a human being. So this is how the cycle goes. And so this current of the karma thoughts is flowing into this first point. And in the first point, there are several sub-points. And those are from the center of the sternum, going one finger down and going 4 fingers width inward, is known as point B, which is where we store all the lower tendencies. Like our program, when we are collecting living life, we are collecting vibrations and they're entering into this program if you do not release them by the end of the day. And they go settle in depending on what the nature of the impressions are. Like in our house, how do we store things? Your food is in the pantry. Your clothes are in your clothes closet. Your garbage is in your garbage field. So like also the impressions, depending on them, they get stored. And this point B is where we store our lower tendencies known as kama, krodha, lobha, moha, matsyara. Passion, anger, greed, selfishness, jealousy. These are all the lower human tendencies that we get involved in. And they are heavy impressions, and they get stored as we entertain them in this world, in this vibratory field called B, and they make us disturbed and imbalanced. And there is another location known as D, where it is the heaviest, and there we store guilt. So this thought flow, when it is coming, it is flowing towards this point A to come into fruition for us. And this Chit Lake we talked about. So from Chit Lake currents, they're coming into this point A, and they're coming into fruition and going into the world. But unfortunately, our entanglement in this world is so intense. Again, they are entering back. Instead of getting rid of the karma, we are adding them back. And they are entering into our subtle body, the consciousness, through this vibratory field of C. And depending on how they are, they get distributed either to B or to A or to all the other points that exist in our heart. So how to change the destiny? First, we need to fix our goal to be one with this absolute. And then we have to have a right method. The method is very, very important. Yes, you want to get to New York. There may be a couple of roads, but some are blocked, some are heavy traffic. So Waze shows us the quickest, easiest way to reach. So the method is very important. And the practice from the part of the seeker is very important. Practice with persistence is what will take us to the goal, that prepares us. And the utmost importance is the right guru. I was giving this one example of a catalyst where when you are making the yogurt, it is not how much curd or yogurt that you put as a starter that is important, but the temperature of the milk. In the right temperature, a drop of yogurt can make the curd possible. So the practice is our temperature, and the guide's transmission is the catalyst that brings this transformation. And where is this transmission coming from? Because in the sutra, it says, connect to the cosmic heart. If we heard the Nasadiya Sutra clearly, it says by connecting to the cosmic heart. So we have to search in our heart and connect our heart to the cosmic heart. But unfortunately, we have come so far that if we touch the live electricity, we get a shock. That's why we have to use the switch, and it gives the light depending on the voltage of the bulb. So we have to connect to that perfect guide whose consciousness is so pure, who is connected to the ultimate source. And nature always provides one being with that highest potency on the earth plane. There may be many gurus, but there is always one person with the highest potency who is directly connected, whose consciousness is connected to that highest source, and who is holding that superconscious state of being along with the power of the divinity. And when we connect to such a guru, such a guide's consciousness with our power of intention, then we will be able to draw this transmission, which is known as prana. And that prana enters into our subtle body field. It releases the impurities, the karmas, the karma phalas that we are holding on to. and it makes our consciousness expand and move into the superconscious field. Thereby we start to experience what is and what is not. And to arrive at this state of discrimination, we have to actually, the Guru has to actually start the journey of each chakra or not. Because we have collected so many impressions, those original chakras, each cell is a chakra in our body, but they were all knotted. And now the transmission, the power of the Guru's transmission and his will unknots each chakra and gives it a momentum and a movement. And that is why suddenly when the yatra begins in an aspirant, you feel lighter. You feel a sense of lightness. After meditation, you feel a sense of silence. It's because the Guru's will and the transmission is unknotting each chakra gradually and gradually bringing you to this state of viveka. And this state of witnesshood that is talked about in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras and as well as the Gita, we arrive at that state of being when we actually master the water point. At the first point, we master being stable. At the second point, we become peaceful as we move there. And then we become emotionally stable. And when we become emotionally stable is we let go of this power of opinions. And then we move to this state of witnesshood when we come to a choiceless awareness talked about by the sage Patanjali. This choiceless awareness will lead us to witnesshood. And that is why the famous statement of Chitta Vritti Nirodha, our samskaras are a wheel, our impressions are a wheel. Our disturbed mind is the one that is giving the power to this wheel. And when that disturbance is removed from the mind through meditation, and the mind comes to stillness and calmness, it does not support the wheel. And when there is no support of anything for the wheel falls apart. We don't get entangled with everything. And that state of being, we move. At that state, we are still observing. And when we move, even observation can create a little trigger in the wheel. But when we are able to move from that state of observation to that state of witnesshood, then we are out of this circle of being trapped. And what is holding us is our wishes. In the Vedic philosophy, they gave a beautiful story from the Vedanta Society. I heard it from one of their gurus. A farmer has a field of bananas, and he would keep his bananas out and the monkey would come eating. So he puts a bottle, hides all the bananas and puts one banana in that bottle. And the neck of the bottle is so thin, only one thing can go in and one thing can come out. And the monkey puts its hand and holds on to the banana. Either the monkey's hand has to come out, otherwise he has to let go of the banana. So the farmer keeps beating. It is a cruel expression, but our impressions keep beating. Here the monkey is our mind. Our mind is being beaten up by the impressions. What all we have to do is let go of this desire. Banana is the desire. If we let go of the desire, the hand comes out and the mind is free. That's the path to liberation. But we are not able to come out of that wishes. So how does the Heartfulness Guide help you? With the transmission, they are moving this current. I want to go back to this picture. This current that is emanating from the Chit Lake is pulled. The banana is in the external world. It's being pulled to that. And we are holding on to it and we are not able to come out of it. And that thought flow emanating from the Chit Lake is being diverted to the Atma Chakra, the soul. And that you need a guru of a caliber to do that. And that is the first service that the Guru of Heartfulness does for us, is divert the thought flow from the Chit Lake into the Atma. So now the desire for divine begins. You cannot force yourself to come out of the desire for the banana. But the moment the thought flow is diverted, the monkey's mind is distracted from this banana to a bright banana, which is the divine current, divine light. And now you are naturally moving towards the Atma, first step of the heartfulness practice. So these are the chakras. In the heart region, we have the 5 chakras. In the first point itself, we have several sub-chakras, sub-points. From the center of the sternum going 1 finger width down. And going 4 fingers width is the point B, which is the point where we store lower tendencies. And in the morning meditation, I hope you are already explained during the previous classes that the impurities, we make a sankalpa, intention, power of thought backed by the will, very humbly. That's when it works. Power of humility, power of prayer is humility, humbleness. Human beings have power of the mind, clarity, power of the heart, love, power of the prayer, humbleness, power of intention, willpower. We have to utilize these in the meditation. And that's how the heartfulness meditation is designed. So we make the sankalpa that from this point B, the impurities are leaving as smoke just for 5 minutes. And what starts to happen over a period of time, you get rid of this excess passion, greed, jealousy, and then you start to come to this moderation and balance. So what happens when the point is balanced? Whatever happens, you remain stable. And 2 fingers above this point B is the location of point A. And that it is a vibratory field. This point B, point A, these are all vibratory fields. This point A vibratory field has the potency of, it is directly connected with the cosmic heart of the Guru. And through that, it is connected to the source. So any sankalpa you made, a positive sankalpa you make in that vibratory field, it is directly received by the cosmic heart as well as the source, and things starts to manifest. So when we make a sankalpa, it is going to the cosmic heart, and the cosmic heart's nature is, if you give one positive thing, it gives 7 things back. That's why they say, if you keep thinking negatives, it comes back to you. So it comes back to us, and that comes as a thought pattern, right? Everything is thought and vibration. So this vibration that you create at point A with a positive thought reaches the cosmic heart as a sankalpa, and it gives it back as multifold. And now you create neural pathways. Everything is interconnected, our body, our mind, our soul, our subtle body, our physical body, our causal body. Everything is interconnected. Everything affects each other. So with this positive sankalpas, we change the neural pathways, and that's how we change our destiny. So in the heart region are these 5 points. And when we go to the mind region, and when we master the heart region is when we master humanness, we become better human beings, because these are all human qualities. And until and unless we master these human qualities, when we move into the higher dimensions, we can sustain the journey, because the dimension of the mind region from point 6 to 11 is circles of ego. We struggle with ego regions. We struggle with our ego there. And they're all regions of power, and any impurity can push us back into the heart region. So that is why our Shastras, our sages have given examples of their lives. Sage Viswamitra, a great sage, but when he was swimming in the 7th point, that is where the passion point is. And because a speck of it was remained in him, and his condition fell, he fell for Menaka. And that is another story. But it doesn't mean that they fall forever. They are great sages. They realize, they go back, they work upon themselves, and they move forward. So, but that example is given to us. And that is why the heartfulness great elders have designed a path. Our traditional yogic chakras were the 7 chakras on the spine. But the journey was very difficult in those days. That's why many sages were not able to move. They were only able to go up to the STK, which is known as Sat Chittanand, the Sahasradala Kamal. Beyond that, they could not cross, because they're all power regions. And in between this 6 and 10, many falls were there, because the region was slippery. And that is where the great Babuji and the great Lalaji of Sahajmarg tradition, the heartfulness tradition, they reinvented the path. It is like, the highway is blocked, and they invented a bypass. And that bypass is this heart region. In this, it's like when the water flow is flowing, the flow of the current is so strong that you cannot directly swim across this flow. So you go behind. So that is how the journey is when you are meditating. Every day you are making the sankalpa, there is divine light in my heart. That is being, I am attracted to that light, and I am resting in that light. And that sankalpa you are making at point A, whatever you meditate at point A becomes your fate. And that's how you are designing your destiny to move towards divinity itself. And this transformation is gradual. So that is why a lot of times we look at people and say, oh, this person is meditating, he hasn't changed. We can't look at anybody because nobody has reached the destination. They are somewhere in the path from 1 to 13. So our vision should be on the goal, not on anybody else. So this journey is what is very important of the heart region, where we master ourselves and become true beings. See, when we are able to master this point 3, where we are emotionally stable, and there it is anger transformed and becomes a power of ascension towards divinity as love. And when the true love starts to manifest, you have no opinions. You begin to love all. There is no more selfishness in that love. There is no more that, oh, I only love my guru, I don't love anybody else, I hate everybody is bad. All that opinions vanish. And then you move to this 4th point, where the awareness shifts to a choicelessness. And that is the beginning of surrender, where you recognize, because now you're getting, as you get closer to these higher dimensions, you start to recognize, like you're going to the ocean and you feel the breeze and you can recognize, oh, I'm coming close to the ocean. So as we move from this point 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, you start to feel the breeze of divinity, and that motivates you to come towards this state of being of complete discrimination and humanness. Mastering the heart region is mastering our character and humanness. And in the mind region, 6th point is in between the eyebrows, and intertwined is 7th point, and 7 to 8. From 6 to 8 is like 3 fingers width. And from 8 to 9 is 2 fingers width. 9 to 10, it's 4 fingers width up to the Sahasradala Kamal, the top of the head. And from there, from SDK to point 10 is 4 fingers width. And from back is 11 and 12. Behind the SDK Sahasrara Kamal, 4 fingers width is point 11. And from 11 to SDK is 2 fingers width, and 11 to 12 is 4 fingers, and 12 to 13 is another 4 fingers width. And if I will send this PowerPoint to you, so you can go through all that to have some idea. And these are like a road map. When we give the Google map, we say Hyderabad is here, Karnataka is here, Chittoor is here. But in reality, is that the distance that we are looking at the map? This is just a map for our idea. And what it does give is, like when you arrive at that states of being, at point 6 at Chittoor, you will see this lake. At Hyderabad, you will see this. That gives you an idea. So also, when we enter these regions, at 6th point, you will see a lot of power. At 7th point, you will feel like you are greater than everybody else because the ego is taking over. And at 8th point, you start to begin to surrender. Now you will see, oh, I am nothing, he is everything. So these are all states of being, different states of beings that you experience. Your self experiences them at each location. And that is the purpose of these points. But if you really look at it, like how Earth is all one piece of vast land, all these energy points are just one dimension, different dimension in this cosmos. And as you are moving from one dimension to another dimension, inside your heart, through the heart, and this is the heart. Heart is not just that one little lump that's beating. The entire region of the heart is what the heart region is, which is connected to the cosmic heart of the Guru. So in this, the first element I already talked about, earth signifies balance. And if it's disturbed, there is imbalance. Earth, ether signifies peace. Fire signifies anger. Water has fear and courage. As negativity, it's fear. As positivity, it is courage. As positivity at point 3 is compassion and love. As negative, it's anger. At the 5th point, it's clarity and illusion, viveka. And that is our aim, is to come to this state of being of discernment, viveka, where we will be able to see what is not. So each chakra, like I talked about, has all the 5 elements. And in the first chakra, at the 12 o'clock position, as a part of the ether is there. At 3 o'clock position, fire element exists. At 6 o'clock position, water element exists. At 9 o'clock position, air element exists. And if you observe the pattern of this vibration, it is clockwise. And this is where the Guru helps. In this point, When it is knotted, everything is stagnant and you can't even breathe. Sometimes people feel chest pain and they don't know, and they go to the doctor and doctor can't find anything because its point is clogged. And this is where the cleaning is affected. And when the cleaning is given, the impurities are released. And when the impurities are released and the transmission is given and a power is created and a movement is restarted, like the guru restarts the engine. And then when this starts to flow, that is when your meditation gets better. That is why we tell people meditate for 3 to 6 months with the help of the transmission, because it requires many thousands of transmissions for the soul to move in this journey from the heart region to the mind region to the central region of divine splendor. So that is why persistence in practice, persistence in receiving this transmission. So this is how the journey begins. And here, all the qualities are given, the location is given, which I already talked about. And the positive qualities of this point is contentment, balance, patience, tolerance, acceptance, forbearance, non-judgment. Some of the human beings, because of their past work that they have done, they already have some of these qualities. And the problem with that is they become content with it. They think I am fine because they're able to hide the lower tendencies. And so they portray themselves as I am a balanced person, I don't need meditation. But that is not true. In reality, all these negative tendencies are clogging our real journey. You're only content with this external banana. But if you start to really taste the state of being of that soul, then you will know. That is why the journey is important. And what happens in this internal journey is each point is connected to the other point. So when the first point it has similar characteristics, similar anatomy as point 6 and point 11. And this earth point is what is the earth element in each chakra in the heart region is connected to the other earth elements, the way the location is, and that creates a path, and those are called as koshas or sheaths. So the earth element in point 1 connected to the earth element in ether point 2, connected to the earth element in the fire point, connected to the earth element in the water point and the air point. It creates a field known as Annamaya Kosha, which is the food sheath. And so every sheath is filled with energy and it supports each other. And we have 5 sheaths, which one is the Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical sheath. Second is Pranamaya Kosha, which is energy sheath. If we overeat, our energy gets depleted. That's why a lot of times we don't have energy. People go into depression. And the energy sheath is connected with the fire point. And every fire point in each chakra is connected to each other. And every time we do an activity, our energy gets depleted. It needs to be supplemented. So every sheath is connected. And bliss sheath is connected with point 2, ether in every element. Manomaya Kosha, which is the mind sheath, which is with the water point. That is where we come to awareness, a choiceless awareness. Now mind is maturing when you master the water point. And then the last one is known as Vijnanamaya Kosha, wisdom sheath, when discernment dawns, which is connected to the 5th point. So everything is interconnected. And that is why sadhana is important. So this is the same anatomy for point 1, and 6 is known as Agna Chakra. 11th is known as the godly region, where it is behind the STK. And these have the same elements. But as we go towards the center, the power of the element decreases, because you have to think like when the stir was there and particles came from that center, and the creation of these elements starts to manifest, and they became heavier and heavier as the dissensions start to happen. So that is why it is depicted like this. And I already mentioned about A being meditative point, B being the cleansing point, and point C where impression center, and point D is the guilt point. And this is the anatomy of the point 2. And center is the earth element. At 12 o'clock is the next element, which is the fire. 3 o'clock is the following element, water, air, and earth, consequently. And the rotation here, you will observe it as anti-clockwise. And this is connected with the Anandamaya Kosha. And here you experience peace, calmness, or you experience hatredness and restlessness. And this point 2 has the same anatomy as 7 and 12. 2, 7, and 12 have similar anatomies. And this is the third point where fire is in the center, and water at 12 o'clock, air at 3 o'clock, earth at 6 o'clock, ether at 9 o'clock. Again, the rotation is clockwise. And here its qualities are compassion, love. Negative qualities are anger and emotional instability, and connected with the pranamaya kosha. And this is very, very important, because otherwise we don't have any energy in us. And this is what is being, this prana is what is being supplemented from the Guru's consciousness. And point 3 and 8 have similar anatomy. And point 4 is the water, center is the water. At 12 o'clock is the air, 3 o'clock is earth, 6 o'clock is ether, 9 o'clock is fire. And again, the rotation is anti-clockwise. And nature is here is courage and fear, and it is connected with the mental sheath known as Manomaya Kosha. And it has the same anatomy as point 4 and 9. And at 5th point, air is dominating, and 12 o'clock is earth, and 3 o'clock is ether, 6 o'clock is fire, 9 o'clock is water point. Rotation could be either clockwise or anti-clockwise. And here the quality is clarity and illusion, and it is connected with the wisdom sheath. And the same anatomy as point 5 and 10. And in Heartfulness, we do a relaxation technique before the meditation. And there are several openings known as vestibules on the physical body. It's like our house having vents. When the vents are clogged, there is no energy flow. So that is why relaxation is also important. And all the steps of the Patanjali Yoga are incorporated in the Heartfulness meditation. And when we are doing the relaxation, all these clogs are removed. And all this, what does it do? Is expands our consciousness. It's our physical body we have. And the physical yoga only affects the physical body. Meditation affects the subtle body, which has these 3 components of mind, intellect, and ego, where our thinking becomes clearer and it moves into a state of feeling, because it is the feeling field that can merge with the soul, with the ultimate. And here the intellect moves into the state of discrimination. And because of this clarity of the mind and the discrimination, now ego becomes subdued and becomes humbler and humbler. And because of that, our consciousness is able to merge with the superconscious field. And this is the transformation that happens, which I just talked about. So where consciousness evolves from where we are and moves into a divine conscious state. And after the heart region, the journey goes on in the mind region, and there is central region and all that. Those are all deep topics, but we just want to give you an idea of what this inner journey that heartfulness can take us, because Babaji's promise is somebody who can practice this can achieve this in one lifetime. So the first 5 or the heart region, those are known as stages of Maya, or 5 circles. And then when we move into the mind region from 6th point to the 11th point, they are known as stages of egoism, where we struggle with that. And then when we cross that mind region and become this humble being, where you are like a child. Now the ignorance, the state of ignorance, we begin as a child, we grow, and we at the old age, we become like a child. So also here we become like a child. Complete ignorance is which allows us to move into this central region, the region which is pure, known as 7 rings of splendor, and Bhuma, the female principle, which is the Shakti. And the godly region actually exists just before entering the rings of splendor. So point 1 to 5 is the heart region. 6 and 7 are known as the Brahmanda Mandal. And from this Brahmanda Mandal is what Lord Krishna showed his Bhagavad Gita, the Virat Roop, giving Arjuna the vision of the cosmos. So it's known as cosmic region. And above the 7th point is the paracosmic, and then it is states of surrender. And then you move into at point 9, it is where You realize the Lord is there and you are there, and the tuggle between the Lord and you will come. And then you move into the states of Prabhu, where you know it is all him and you are nothing, and then move to the central region. And these PowerPoints, we'll send it to you so you can take a look at. So what will help in this journey is begin the meditation with this point B cleansing and practicing being in the remembrance state and doing our cleansing and intentions. So these steps of meditation you probably already went through, so I won't go through these PowerPoints. You already have gone through the cleansing session and the prayer. And I already talked about this power of suggestion, how when we make a suggestion at point A, it is given to the cosmic heart, and then it's given back to us as intentions will manifest. So that is our presentation. That is a deep journey. Before we go into further, we would recommend people to send us an email to dayton.oh@heartfulness.org. And when we can send you the links for all these sessions, how to practice meditation at each point, how to make sankalpas at each point, how to arrive at these states of being. Because journey is vast and it is not possible to give a presentation in just an hour. But this is the gist of it. So we know, now we have a roadmap. We are getting in the car. Now you are looking, okay, next I need to arrive at this Cincinnati. From here, next I have to move to Kentucky, then to Tennessee. So this you have an idea, but you have to begin the journey, and the journey begins with the step of meditation. I apologize, I could not do it in any shorter time. Let us have at least a 10 minutes meditation session and experience it. And then if there is any questions, you can email us or put it in the chat box, because meditation is the most important thing. Meditating with the transmission, pranahuti, that is emanating from the source into the cosmic heart of the guide's consciousness, and through him we need to receive. And that is why our sankalpas are, a lot of times people wonder how to find a guru. Babuji says that it is better to have no guru than have a wrong guru. So how do ordinary people find the right guru? You have the sankalpa shakti, power of intention, come into your heart, and with prayer submit that whoever is that right guru, to him I am connected. My heart is connected to the cosmic heart of the guide, on this perfect guide on the planet Earth, who is connected to the ultimate source. And when you make that sankalpa and keep meditating, you will be drawn to the right guru. Because as a trainer once, I was given the Rigveda Daji said, transmit to Babuji and see. So I started to transmit to Babuji, and I noticed every time I transmitted to Babuji, it was going to my Guru Daji. So now it is my inner conviction, the presence of Babuji is in Daji. So recently when I met him for something, there was some situation and he says, pray to Babuji. And I was like, you are Babuji. Why should I pray to Babuji? You are Babuji. You do something about it. Because that answer came from the inner conviction, the presence of Babuji is in my Guru. And he says, because we have to experiment these things. He says, why don't you, he said, pray. So for one day I didn't pray. I submitted the picture of the person that he wanted me to pray. He didn't respond. So finally I said, it was arrogance. Oh, he's the Babuji. Why should I pray again? He knows the problem. So after a day or two, then I said, no, his order was to pray to Babuji, so I should pray. So I was in Kanha Shantivanam. I sat at that Babuji's statue and I said, I am submitting this prayer to Babuji, who is present in my Guru's heart. That was 7:30. I started my prayer. I finished my prayer at 8 o'clock. I'm walking back to my apartment. I open my email and 7:33, I get a response from Daji. I am joining you in your prayer for this particular person. Now my inner conviction, when I pray, he receives it, because I started the prayer at 7:30. So the journey has to be your inner conviction. Why I'm sharing this personal experience is the inner journey is your inner conviction. Test the method, test the guru, test the practice. And then the journey becomes a joyful journey. So let us at least now meditate for 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll run over for a few minutes, I think so. I think it's a wonderful session, Umagaru. So, you'll,
All right, let us meditate now. And please notice that as the commands are given, accept them, and you will observe all the steps that are leading, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, they are leading, instructions are leading you to that state of being. And it's the transmission that helps you to move from observation to witness. Close your eyes softly. Take few deep breaths and let go. And feel the healing energy from Mother Earth ascending into your being, from toes to feet, moving to ankles and your legs, relaxing every part of your body. Take a deep breath and let go. Let the healing energy flow into your knees, thighs, hips. Feel firmly grounded in the seat. This is what Swami Vivekananda says. Grounding in your seat is important for sadhana. Feel the free flow of energy flowing there, relaxing you. Take another deep breath and let go gently. Feel the energy flow into your lower back and into your upper back. Relax your entire back. Keeping your spine erect. Bring your awareness to your stomach muscles. Feel the energy flow there. Take a deep breath and let go gently. Feel the energy flow into your chest. Relax your chest. Feel the energy flow into your hands. Relax your hands. Feel the stress melting away from your shoulders. Relax your shoulders, neck, jaws, facial muscles. Deeply relax your eyes, eyebrows and temples. Feel your brain is resting. Your mind is calm. Your body is completely relaxed. Bring your awareness to your heart. Feel your heart. Enter your sacred space. Bring yourself to a state of humbleness in prayer, where the heart beats. Make the intention. The source of light is present within you. The light from the source is illuminating your entire being. Your mind is drawn to this light. Your mind is resting in the light. The ocean of light, the ocean of love is in you. You are a drop submerged in this ocean. Rest in the light with utmost reverence. Let's meditate. That's all. Feel the calmness spread throughout your being. From this place of calmness, make the intention. All my senses are in a state of balance. They have arrived at their original character. All my feelings are in silence. Every cell in my being is absorbing the silence. Feel the calmness spread throughout your being. You may open your eyes when you are ready.
Namaste, Uma Garu. That's a wonderful talk and meditation. As you said, you compressed 40 hours knowledge into just 1 hour for us today. So thank you again. Let's take 1 or 2 questions. If I know there are a lot of people here, it'll be good if people can put their questions in the chat. We can take 1 or 2 questions. Umagar also does regular sessions at Dayton, Heartfulness on the web. The details are given there, so people can attend those sessions for more information, more detailed knowledge.
Since we are short of time, people can email us on the questions also.
Questions also, yes.
I would like to thank
Yeah.
our AKKA members, Dayanand Garu and everybody here.
Manish Srinivas.
Manish Srinivas Garu and everybody. Apologize for not knowing the names. I know Amarnath Gowda Garu very well. We began our journey in the US in 1987. We were neighbors.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was like very interesting, very informative, and very refreshing. So, I mean, it's interesting to see that it's connected so well, and yeah, definitely, like, you know, we have to go through this. Yeah, if you can share the PowerPoint, Vasamurthy, like, you know, with
Sure.
us, like, definitely we'd like to go through it 1 more time. Definitely,
Sure.
we have it in the recording as well. So it was like very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with all of us.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank
also.
you.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all the viewers. Yeah, Dayananda, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Umaji, for coming and give your talk on AKKA. And our heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody. ಮುಂದಿನ ವಾರ ಇದೇ time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Thank you so much.
Yeah, next week we'll have a Heartfulness for schools, teenagers and parents get special program.
Yes.
So please attend that also next week. Details will be coming
Yeah,
out.
we'll send the details soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Love you.